What is up, besties? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Scotty Holiday, a queer creator and huge Star Wars nerd, so if you're into either one of those things, please consider subscribing and following me at Scotty Holiday SW for all my latest Star Wars content. Today I want to talk about the mysterious Inquisitor we see in the Ahsoka series trailer. I was hella intrigued seeing as the Inquisitorius were completely absent during the original trilogy, and this show takes place in the years following Return of the Jedi. There's so many names that have been thrown out there, and in this video, I want to go over who I think are the most popular and likely candidates. Before we get started, please make sure to like the video and let me know who you think the Inquisitor could be in the comments below. Now, arguably, the most popular theory people have latched onto is that this Inquisitor is Barriss Offee. Barriss was the Padawan of Luminara Unduli and close friend to Ahsoka during her time in the Jedi Order. Since Barriss's fate is still unknown, it's not impossible that she could still be alive post Return of the Jedi. At Star Wars Celebration 2015, when asked about Barriss's fate, Dave Filoni said,
"In the original script, she died at the end of the episode. She blew up her prison cell and her along with it. But I didn't want that fate for Barriss, so I cut that part. You're welcome. And I had plans for Barriss and still do. Like, I think Barriss is an interesting character. The most compelling thing I find about what Barriss said is that a lot of it was true. It wasn't that what Barriss said was wrong or a lie, it was the way she acted that was wrong. And that, I think, gave Ahsoka a lot of pause, and in a lot of ways was the reason why she left. Because she couldn't deny a lot of what Barriss said was true, but she wouldn't have acted the way Barriss did. So, do they ever meet again? That's a great question. It would make a great story probably, but not a story we'll tell today. I don't know how much trouble Pablo and I are already in, so we'll just keep it at, the DEF CON we're at right now.
While I think this would be an easy choice that could also enhance the story due to their connection, I don't think it would play out exactly as you might expect. Palpatine already had plans in place for the creation of his own Force-sensitive army during the Clone Wars, kidnapping Force-sensitive children and looking out for Jedi with grievances against the High Council or the Order itself, which would make Barriss a prime candidate since Palpatine was present during her trial and confession for the bombing of the Jedi Temple. So let's say Barriss willingly joins the Inquisitorius. Personally, I don't believe Barriss truly turned to the dark side. Barriss was extremely selfless and considered the ideal Padawan, so although she was influenced by the dark side, I don't think she truly lost herself in it. She already showed signs of regret during her trial, so I feel like she would carry those feelings with her during her time as an Inquisitor. The only way I could see Barriss joining is because she had nowhere else to go, and because of her selfless nature, I believe Barriss would come to empathize with Order 66 survivors and want to help them rather than hunt them, which would ultimately lead her to deserting the Inquisitorius altogether. Barriss was knighted during the final years of the Clone Wars, so I'm pretty sure she would have been one of the most powerful Inquisitors under the Grand Inquisitor. With her mental stamina and physical capabilities, I have no doubt that she'd be able to escape. Now, how would she play into the Ahsoka series? In order to keep her identity hidden and survive in a post-Order 66 galaxy as a Force user, I could see Barriss not only keeping her Inquisitor lightsaber, but the Inquisitor armor as well. Not only would this disguise her identity, but it also allows her to openly wield a lightsaber in the Force without the everyday citizen batting an eye. This would explain why she would still be wearing the armor and wielding a lightsaber in the post-Return of the Jedi era, even though she would have left the Inquisitorius years prior. We see the Inquisitor on a forest planet as well as an industrial setting in the trailer, so I could totally see Barriss trying to track down Ahsoka after learning of her survival. So for fun in this scenario, let's just say Barriss did fully turn to the dark side during her time as an Inquisitor. I could totally see her holding a grudge and making it her mission to track down and kill Ahsoka in a similar vein to Reva in the Kenobi series or Trilla in Fallen Order, along with a redemption for Barriss in the end. Let me know down in the comments which Barriss theory you like better. Another popular theory is that instead of an Inquisitor, this character could be a member of the Emperor's Hand. In Legends continuity, the Emperor's Hands acted similar to the Inquisitorius, tasked with eliminating rogue and rebellious individuals who posed a threat to the Empire. However, like their name suggests, the Emperor's Hands reported directly to Palpatine himself. Currently in canon, the only hand we know of is the Mandalorian Gar Saxon, but in Legends, there were at least 13. As far as we know, the Inquisitores were basically non-existent during the original and sequel trilogies, but the Emperor's Hand could still exist as a natural evolution of the group, explaining the existence of this red-bladed adversary. Now, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have proved that they're open to pulling from Star Wars Legends, stories, and characters, with the most obvious example being Grand Admiral Thrawn, with Ahsoka even referring to him as heir to the Empire in the series trailer. And since his introduction in Star Wars Rebels, fans have been theorizing what other Legends characters could be brought back into canon, with the most popular being one of the Emperor's Hands, Mara Jade. I could totally see this role providing a place for her in current canon, but her story wouldn't be able to be the same as before, specifically her time as a Jedi and wife to Luke Skywalker, though she could still exist as a member of the Emperor's Hand in this scenario. Sticking with the Emperor's Hand theory, another Legends character that could easily fill this role would be Galen Marek, also known as Starkiller, from the Force Unleashed video games. Starkiller is another character fans have been clamoring to be brought back into canon, and I think bringing him in as a member of the Emperor's Hand would be the best fit to keep the character as close to Legends as possible. We all know Starkiller is overpowered as hell, and I don't think bringing him into canon as an Inquisitor would work well because his powers would have to be dialed down so much, but as Emperor's Hand, he could totally get away with being a little more true to how he was in the game. Which of these characters would you prefer to see brought into canon? Let me know in the comments below. So last but not least, we have the wildcard theory, and one I'm actually really into, that this Inquisitor character could actually be Ezra Bridger. Throughout Star Wars Rebels, we saw Ezra dabble in the dark side multiple times, and after sacrificing himself to save the rest of the Ghost crew in his home planet of Lothal, being stranded for so long with Thrawn and the surviving members of his fleet, it's possible Ezra could have given into the dark side on his own, or through torture. We know that he and Thrawn survived the jump to hyperspace at the end of Rebels Season 4, and I imagine Thrawn would have eventually been able to capture and take Ezra prisoner at some point after they reached their destination. After the fall of the Empire in Legends, Grand Admiral Thrawn re-emerged in the known galaxy, tracking down and recruiting a dark Jedi, Joruus C'baoth, to his cause, and I really like the idea of Ezra kind of taking over this role in canon. But unlike Joruus, Ezra wouldn't be a clone and instead of insane, maybe just kind of unhinged due to the corruption of the dark side. Being the master tactician that he is, I could totally see Thrawn convincing Ezra to join his cause, especially after being stranded together for who knows how long and without the support of his family. Now, of course, if this Inquisitor character did turn out to be Ezra, I would ultimately want to see him redeemed and brought back to the light side, but how do you feel about it? We also have to accept that in the end, this new antagonist character could be exactly that, a brand new character created for the series, but where's the fun without a little speculation? Theories and speculation is what we do best here in the Star Wars fandom, and I'm definitely not about to stop now. But which one of these theories did you like the best, or do you have another theory as to who this Inquisitor character could be? Let me know down in the comments and hit me up on Twitter or Discord to keep the conversation going. Make sure to subscribe and consider following me on social media at Scotty Holiday SW for all my latest Star Wars content, and you can also now catch me every other Friday on This Is the Way Seekers, a Star Wars podcast, which I'll link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.